Well, hello there guys, and welcome back to the channel. How's everybody doing? So, another beautiful day playing Marvel Concert Champions. How many of you are missing your Alliance Quest rewards, by the way? Well, just made a post about that. Like, I am missing my Alliance Quest rewards as well. I wonder if Kabam is gonna address the Spider-Woman situation. What do you guys think? That's a really great thumbnail. White Mommy made it, but thank you. He just sent me that picture for the lols, but I figured I'll use this thumbnail. Where's the game, bro? Oh. That's really good. Well, dunk. My $100 awakening jab. Yeah, you ain't getting any of that back. There's a good thing that none of the changes are coming into play until like December or something. But we have new arenas. We'll play Battlegrounds tomorrow. Don't quite feel like doing it right now. And we're still in C4, so that's neat. Not awfully bad. Gonna fall out of it soon enough, organically, or when we play, so whichever. Think forever or wherever Bullfighter is Arsenal waiting. Huh? Bullfighters are still waiting? What do you mean? Who's waiting where? Come on, there'll be no rank down. Yeah, I doubt it. Balance programs basically made save those. And welcome Sith and everybody else. Alright, so let's jump in the arena. By the way, starting this stream, just so you guys know, they do the daily quest yesterday. I don't know. Nope, I forgot to do that one. Watch. Okay, see, that's what I hit. Ah. Okay, fine. Fine. Have to. Of course there are. Oh, that's what you meant. Yeah, we are still waiting as well. Oh wait, there's this arena again as well. Alright, nice. I can do this arena quickly then. Made $100, can chill for BGs for a while. Well, I made it to 333. So Cracks, you can do Zolo too? Yes. Last notch. Yeah, I mean, that's the new normal, buddy. How long before you think it'll last? End of next year. At most. If they don't change some things drastically. If they keep making the dumb decisions. Or if the question is how long I will last? Not long. Not that long. Yeah, true. 10 versus... Come on. Let's get them tickets. I'm glad you like the thumbnail. No, it's Spider-Man, Nico, Carolina, and Carl. Don't forget Carl. I think Carl is up there too, on the chopping block. Any possibility of them canceling the nerf? I think there's possibility of them adjusting the nerf rather than canceling, but we'll see. Do you think they'll introduce 8 stars anytime soon? Not that soon, because we still have 2 ranks left on 7 stars, and then there's still Ascension mechanic that they can use. So, we'll see, but I don't think it's gonna be that soon. Okay, though. Play another game? Yes, I am. Well, it's either gonna be another game or something kind of different altogether, but we'll see. I am definitely losing my patience with Kabam as well. I've been for a bit, but it's getting less and less fun. First of all, feels more and more BS and cash grabbing and scummy with almost everything they do. Like, most of the things that they have changed or added to the game make it shittier for me. Top 30 prestige, I think, is shit change for somebody who doesn't spend insane amounts, right? New event quest, it's just not fun. It's shit. It's boring and shit. Like Battlegrounds, again, there was this whole outrage. They introduced Radiance, and they have done basically nothing with Battlegrounds since. There's nothing interesting coming in that area. Alliance was fine, you know. Alliance Quest Map 8. I'm sick and tired of that. You know, it feels like taking the same test day after day. AI issues are as bad as they have ever been. AI issues, like, largely started, like, I don't know, 4 years ago with controls and inputs and stuff like that, and they basically haven't went away. They have just gotten worse. AI feels worse and worse to play against. Amount of bugs and issues with the game is not decreasing. So, I am definitely losing my kind of grit as well for the game, for sure. I mean, I invested more sticks in anti-venom, I invested some in Call. But yeah, so many of the newer champions are just flat out unenjoyable. Like, offensively speaking, like, many of the new champions, again, feel like I'm not fighting against an opponent. It feels like I'm fighting against my own champion. Because, you know, I need to watch 17 timers. There's always some, you know, champion unique currencies, and there's like this very strictly regulated playstyle. And what is worse, it's not just that when I use many of the new champions, I feel like I'm fighting against my own champion mechanics. It's also that the game is micromanaged in terms of matchups. And with defenders like Serpent, where it's just basically, if you don't have a counter, you're just dead. You know? If you don't have a counter to Bullseye, you're just basically dead. If you don't have a counter to that, you're just basically dead. I don't like that. So, just about every other decision is making the game less fun for me. And it's not even I'm saying that I'm trying to say that they are bad decisions. Because with many of them, I can understand why Kabam is doing what they are doing. I genuinely can. But it doesn't mean that I enjoy it. You know what I mean? And it's also like the general sense that every single time something happens, you're fighting like against a windmill. The whole energy refill thing, it was such a scummy thing for them to do. It's just about everything that they do is in the scummiest way possible. As in, like, the energy refills, again, they didn't talk about energy refill change or anything at all. They just kind of, and then people notice when Alliance Weekly Superman started, is like, hey, where the fuck are my refills? Right? Because they just quietly took them away when they pretended Alliance Superman is this new great thing, but it's objectively shit. And that event was used as an excuse to take away energy refills from the weekly objectives. And they never announced it anyway. And then people noticed, like, where are my energy refills? And Kabam's like, oh yeah, we took them away because, well, you're not gonna need as much energy because the lower EQs will no longer exist. And then, it's like, yeah, but you need to do these daily quests. that take a lot of energy. So, oops, I guess you did need those energy refills, but, well, too bad, you're not gonna get any. And then when people start bitching about, even their fix to it kind of felt scummy. And then, you know, they do give us an energy refill in the daily event, which is great. But why did we have to, like, go through all of that, you know, to get there? So it's just, again, exhausting. Fight in this game and fight Kabam all the time. And yeah, it's also definitely less fun. Like this new timeline. Thanks, NG. And yeah, and you can also see that they're putting in significantly less effort in designing quests than they used to. Like, story content is basically copy paste all the time. It's the same thing, the same. No, there's like nothing changed. Like, it's tedious as fuck, and it's still better than a fucking monthly queue where in Elder difficulty, like, again, every single fight that I did in Elder difficulty, I have done at least half a dozen times because it's the same nodes for like half a decade. Really last if possible. Alright, Himosha. Can you make an ensnare so it should only prevent away? No, yeah. Well, that would simply be called Pursuit. They can change ensnare to Pursuit. Because last time they touched ensnare potencies, they broke all the champions. Or something like that. Or was it Wishes? But whatever. I think the easiest way is if it's not ensnare, then it can just be Pursuit. Because Pursuit is a debuff that ensnare minus build accuracy. It's actually about that is how I genuinely feel about just about everything. I feel like well, I don't know, we'll see. But it's genuinely exhausting. It's definitely where I should stand. There are not many good things to talk about. One of the best things that we could discuss in regards of this year in the game is that overall champion quality had increased. But then again, like, last 5 champions have been like mid, or most of the last, let's say, most of the champions in the last 3 months have been mid. So that's dropping. And the good champions from the beginning of the year that we actually liked and enjoyed, seemingly, are gonna go through the Nerf machine. DC likes huge amount of work. Yeah, also somehow basically end of last or in this year the game has started lag for me. I didn't use lag against Dust, now I do. Like half the bosses I end up lagging against. Any champion that has some sort of aura, my phone started to lag. Yeah, and like, it's still unbelievable in Spider-Man Nerf post that says they're trying to keep strong defenders from coming out too fast. Yeah, that also feels like utter bullshit, and that's also a theme. Every time Kabam posts something, you just know that, like, I automatically assume they're lying. Or they're trying to gaslight the people. Because they're like, basically, like how they tried to take away energy refills and they were like basically pretending that, you know, it's all good, you're not gonna need them, you know, it's not a bad thing that, you know, you're losing these energy, you're not gonna need them. And then like a week later, everybody has like 0 energy refills in stash. And so on and so forth, you know what I mean? They make a shit change and they're trying to sell it, like, sell it to us like it's fucking the best thing ever. And they do that all the time. It's us, it's our fault. Of course it's our fault. We're gonna do things. Yelena Boskala. Oh yeah, that is not broken. That is meant to be like that though. That is not Kabam's fault. That is Yelena's ability, buddy. Big Paul. Yelena basically cancels out all the attack mods abilities, including Furies. So that's not broken dead, buddy. That's working as normal. And so straight up nullifies ability. Yeah, you can have Pursuit. Straight up nullifying Evade. Carolina, yeah, I think so. I mean, I already have it for Carolina, but I do feel like she's getting a bit of a clap too. But it's most likely that her glancing mechanic is going to get nullified. Doing well on scale, wondering how much I still enjoy it. Yeah, I am too, buddy. I don't know what to tell you. I enjoy you guys. You guys are awesome. I love the people that, you know, come and hang out with me and that I've known for, in many cases, for many years, stuff like that. But the game is, in fact, becoming less and less fun, for sure. So, you know, like, if I had to give you an answer, like, right now, I can't sense this being, like, end phase for me too. Or at the very least, you know, if I'm gonna still carry on doing something, you know, I can easily see myself doing something entirely different and still, you know, whipping out MCOC stream like once a week or something. I don't know. One looks better defender than Khun. It entirely depends on the metas. Yeah, DLL has said that Carolina is overperforming offensively, so more than likely that she will in fact also get the adjustment. Okay, here's the thing though. I mean, when you talk about like balance, again, I'm going to show you a few things, because if you're talking about, oh, she was listed as 3.5 on defense and stuff like that, I want to show you something, because again, this is one more of those things that people who want to defend Kabam is using, that, oh, she's listed as a 3.5 defender, but they are only looking at those numbers when they want, because check this out, like, we have Destroyer, right? Defender strength 4, damage 4. Is he a relevant defender? Or does he have 4 in attack? Right? And then we're gonna have somebody like Jack, 3.5. So telling me Destroyer has more damage than Jack does. What does Shatter have? Apparently 4.5 and 5. Werewolves 3. So telling me Destroyer is like full 20% higher damage than Werewolf is. Bullshit. Also, Werewolf is 4 on the... Where is this 4? Like, where is this 4? He doesn't have 4 on defense in like no imaginable way, shape or fashion. Where is the 4 on Werewolf's defense? Where's the 3 in damage? If Destroyer has 4 here and 4 here. Right? So, you can whip out just about any champion. And all of those, most of those champions will have shit that's way off. Caroline Dean, 4.53. I mean, I'll agree with that. 4.5, I suppose. Here we go, Maker. Maker has 4 in damage. So you're telling me Maker has more damage than fucking Jack? There, again, Armor Ghost, but what I am replying to you, I hear what you said, but my reply to that is, they only pay attention to these things when they want to use it as a stupid argument. Because these things, by all objective units of measure, are inaccurate for majority of the champions in game. You can't say Jack's 3.5 and this is 4. And Destroyer is 4. Right? Even when it comes to like defenders, like Lumitrix is 3 on defense, right? And Destroyer is 4. Lumitrix is better defender than Destroyer in most cases, I'd say. Or at the very least, there's not like a significant difference in between them. What do they say for Zola? Zola's damage 3, defender strength 5. Fine, and that was 5, I think. Jack's dead, fine. Let's say Count Nefaria. Like, Isophene has 4 in damage. There's no world on this planet where... Yeah, exactly. Werewolf, according to Kabam, is better defender than Lumitrix. So, like, either Werewolf or Lumitrix should have gotten changed. If we're following the argument that you kind of laid out. You know what I mean? And Icewind has 4 in damage? Like, in which fucking world Icewind has 4 in damage? So, Icewind... What is Jaggy's damage here? You're telling me Icewind and Juggernaut has the same damage? Icewind, Juggernaut, and Destroyer all are the same damage? Juggernaut is better defender than Lumitrix? According to Kabam, Juggernaut is better defender than Lumitrix. So Juggy, number one, Juggy needs a defensive fucking boost. So, like, any mention of these ratings as justification to something just doesn't hold any water. As far as I'm concerned. Because all of these are completely off. Champion Androids and Whole New Endula has said that instead of the fact they use for swimming, they're just being silly. Exactly. Exactly. So yeah, no, I don't want to hear anything about 3.5, you know? If she's marked as 3.5, you know what? Just mark her as 4.5, problem solved.
Shut up and take my money!
Kabam $5.
But yeah, no, so any discussion about attributes, they can fuck right off. So I'm not even gonna entertain that. Goodbye. Alright, thanks for the fire, buddy. To show us Groot. I mean, I can if you wanna. I don't. Wait, champions. Is there a Groot? There's King Groot. I don't think there is Groot. Oh no, there you go. Ease of use is 5. But we need argue points in the terms. I am. Too many defensive skills. And it was like, we are arguing, like, everything that we discussed is, like, in relation to what other things they do. As in, like, all of our arguments in general have been based off the example and precedent that Kabam has set themselves. Yeah, the fact that, you know, according to them, you know, Juggernaut and Destroyer has fucking, and Isophene all have the same, similar-ish damage. Maker's not a bad champion. We're talking specifically about Maker is not a great champion either. Maker is mid as fuck at best. Another game I play. I don't know, Andrew, yet. Look at Red Max, he has almost power and everything. Really? Oh. He actually typed in Red Magneto. Holy shit. Defender strength 4 as well. I mean, that should be the king of MCOC. Those are like the best stats I have seen. Let us know, you know. Will do. Will do, buddy. Are you really thinking about quitting? I'll put it like that. I am actively thinking into possibilities and going over my options. But yes, this game has just about never seemed less fun or worth it to me. Zhang said there is no precedent, any champ. Each of them exists in a vacuum. Then why have these things in the first place? If they are, you know, not a showcase of anything. Okay, the stats on their website don't mean squat. Okay, fine. At the very least, then don't bring them the fuck up when you justify nerfing a champion. At the very basic. You can't have your cake and eat it too. Yeah, like this argument. You can't have your cake and eat it too. If these stats don't matter anything, Armor Ghost, then don't bring them up. Ever as justification for anything. But they did. And they presented them as if they do matter. That's all long MCOC print money for them, use money over. Yeah, that's also a very, very big problem, that they used MCOC revenue in just about everything under the sun except actually making the game better. But then how you want them to design champs, they can be either complicated or be repetitive. I'm not saying they can't design complicated champions or, you know, different champions. But it's more so the term they use. I think that is the biggest thing, is like how hard it is for me to use them, or how free do I feel using them. Like, a great example is Okoye as a champion that's designed very recently. You know, I like using Okoye. I think Okoye is a fantastic champion. Okoye is a relevant champion in the meta, and she's straightforward to use. I can go for level 1, in which case I'm going to sacrifice a little bit on damage, but I'm going to get an endurance buff. I can go for level 2, and it's not going to be that massive difference in the damage, so I'm basically free to do whichever. I can alternate combos. I don't have to intercept. The only thing that I have to do occasionally is to dex if I want that ensnare. In the matchups where I don't need that ensnare, I don't need to specifically try and dex stuff like that. But still, a samurai, another fairly easy one, you know. Finish combos with mediums or drop some heavy attacks and then use your special attacks. If you can, level 2, level 1 rotation is going to be the best. But if you're forced to, you can just go for your level 1s and job done. Again, you're going to sacrifice some damage with less optimal rotation. Not that much, though, but it's very easy goal and the way to achieve it. That is good. There, how do I want them to design champions? More like that. Jack has level 1, level 2 rotation. If you do think your damage is going to be enough or you want, just go for 2 straight level 2s. That's it. It's like level 2 is damage, level 1 is ramp up, or if you intercept, get good RNG or manage to crit a lot, you don't need that level 1, just go straight for level 2. That is a good design. And again, in 2025, they kind of had started doing that for more champions, but still, you know, Solvarg though. The fuck are you? Like, Solark is the epitome of shit that I don't like. There's some stupid charge mechanics, there's some specific special, you need that special to gain that, and then change your modes, and you need that special to change your mode back again, and then you... Like, fuck off. Kind of like Solar came out 2 or 3 months ago, right? And I learned how to fight with him, I learned several rotations, I tested him, I was fully well versed. Then I didn't use him for like a month or so. And then I ranked him up for defense, because he's gonna be a good defender. And I was like, I should probably remind myself how to use Solark. And I had to relearn everything, because it's like, you know, it genuinely should come with a fucking instruction there. So, like, that is very bad. Very bad champion design, in my opinion, on Solark. But there you go. And also, like, that argument, like, don't rank up champions until the rebalance is over, is bullshit. You can't lag behind the rest of the players for, like, half a year. Bastion is the perfect tech. I wouldn't go that far. I think Red Skull is quintessentially perfect tech. Has a bit of power control. Has the dot, has some energy damage, has heal block, has armor ups. I think Red Skull is textbook tech champion. I love Red Skull. Yeah, exactly. Like, effectively for champion to get the rebalance info, it takes like half a year. For a change to come into play, it takes like a year, right? You can't put yourself behind for like half a year. Many champions' relevance spans are less than half a year, especially defenders. Like, can you compare the value of Zola on day 1 to value of Zola today? You can't. And Zola has still not gotten his rebalance info, if I'm right. Or did he? I don't remember, but you can't possibly compare how defensively valuable Zola was the day and the month that he came out, and how he's now. Like, when he came out, it was basically an auto ban or an auto loss, because, you know, didn't know how to fight him, there were less counters and so on and so forth, and he was insanely valuable. Still a good defender today, but nowhere close to how useful he was when he came out. And the same goes to a ton of champions, man. So no, the argument of, you know, don't rank up champions, it's impossible. You can't avoid doing that. Oh, Jack's definitely better than so yeah, so that just doesn't work at all either. And besides, that's like a very, very depressing approach to the game. Imagine how you feel like, you know, you see a champion that you like, and everybody's enjoying, and there's video how awesome the champion is and how much the champion's helping them, you know, win battlegrounds or, you know, do quests and defeat bosses. And you're just like, yeah, balance info is not out yet. In case. So no, I think that's not a good way to play the game. Wait like a year. Bastion's better for longer fights? Yeah, and Bastion's better for Alliance War. For Battlegrounds, Jack is better. Unquestionably. Ooh, Warlock's also insane for Alliance War, so I don't know. Warlock's also like one of the all-time Alliance War MVPs. I shit you not, generally, Warlock is one of the all-time best champions for Alliance War. Because that dude has been dominating Alliance War since the day he came out, and today he's still a very quintessential champion. In Alliance War specifically. Warlock's very good against Bullseye, by the way. especially in war where you're not rushing and, you know, taking some cheap damage doesn't matter. But Warlock's very, very, very fucking good against Bullseye because you can do the entire fight without Bullseye throwing a special. And that synergizes often very well with some specific nodes. Oh, I might have a 7-star relic, I think. Ironheart actually is surprisingly good Bullseye counter for a bunch of nodes. Huh. Last one. I don't want to. What do you think about the AW meta? Attackers? I don't like it. I have like 2 champions that are attackers in this meta that I have ranked up, I think. I noticed the options that Kabam gave us and it's like, I don't have any of those. So I'm gonna have to rank up some champions. Alliance War might be the reason why I rank up Bastion. There's a legitimate chance of that happening. I need some tier alphas, I guess. But yeah, the champions, I can show you the filter, add tags for Badens. So I have Yelena and Zola at rank 4. Zola goes in defense. And then I have like Lumitrix and Moleman that's rank 3. So I have 3 champions at like presentable. Oh, Solvar too, but fuck Solvar. So I have 4 champions at like competitive rank that I can use. Yeah. So by the looks of it, might need to go and, you know, my Bastion. I mean, I do have a 6-star, but 6-star are already kind of under-ranked for Alliance War. So my 7-star Bastion might need to get ranked up. There's a chance my Zemo might need to get ranked up. I know generic gem for fam. Yeah, man, it's not the great, not a great tactic for me. Man, I don't wanna. Actually. Still enjoy BGs? Less than I used to. And again, like a very big part of the reason why I enjoy BGs less than I used to is how RNG they are now. How many serpent-esque defenders there are, but like if you don't get lucky to get like a counter, you're just dead. Like, cause you know, I'm really like OP attackers that are very hard to speed with in specific metas, and like these defenders where you just absolutely have to have a counter or you're dead. It's become significantly less fun to me. Like, you know, opponent drafts Dark Phoenix as like 5th champion, like, well, fuck. Or, you know, there's just so many champions that without like a dedicated answer to, you're dead. And even if these counters exist in the game, it's not like you can add in 5 counters to each of these problem defenders. And even if you do, there's no guarantee that, you know, you're gonna pull them. But the point is, like, you have to fight with the best champions that you have been able to draft, right? And when you have to go up against like serpents and bullseyes and whatnot with like objectively shit options, not enjoyable. Okay, so what did I want to do? All right. Whee! $45K Mysterium? What do you offer? I need to spend some Mysterium. Luckily we are in just the right place to do that. Who should I pick here? Ah, fuck. It's the object because just. I mean, again, I am personally enjoying the game less than I remember myself enjoying it just about ever. I'll just leave it like that. I don't know how many I need to get these. I have fine. I have that one. Profile pictures and whatnots. Oh, now I have all of them, right? Yeah. We can open some rebirth crystals now. Answering. DLL was trying on his stream answering. What DLL was trying. Can you say that again, Nick? Those crystals are gonna bug it all? Well, thank you. I hope I do get something. Because I did get bugger all on these when we were collecting them. Alright, so basic, that's not great. That is not great either. Basic, even less great. Second diamond on. The Valiant crystal, still not a huge. Why does basic not TSN basic? Tier for Alpha something. Oh yeah, that's something. Yeah, basically nothing. 50 units, so nothing good here. Going hide for Mr. Nut? I am not. Are you? Light or whatever. Pop open 3 of these. Double 6-star ghost. Damage is mad. I don't think the damage is necessarily the problem. I think everything else around the champion. Okay. Not opening that. Oh, we are not close to this at 7-star relic. Oh. I got some more 6-star relics, that's fine. These are not mad. I'm hyped for Dracula though. If Dracula is coming, that could be cool, yeah. He was crying his live stream like a baby about the community asking questions. Like what? Oh. Okay, crying like a baby. I don't like when people use that phrase. But do you mean that he was complaining or unhappy, or what was the problem there? Mr. Nine had constipation, that's why he had to walk close. Yeah, I mean, like, I don't like that. That walk close to the opponent for a light deck, I don't like that. He was complaining? Of course he was. He works for Kabam, like. Like, that's one of those things, like, if you are in direct financial relationship and your livelihood is affected, you know, by Kabam, that's whose ass you're gonna wipe. Okay, say what it doesn't need instead. I mean, like, fine that Serpent doesn't need you know, resistance, and Serpent doesn't need true focus and whatnot, and then Enchantress doesn't need miss. I think Enchantress genuinely doesn't need miss. I think she would be much more manageable champion if we wouldn't have miss, or instead of intercept mission, we would have a landed light attack against non-stand opponent champion type thing. Know what I mean? I think Enchanters doesn't need the intercept prompt. But DLL, I mean, like, yeah, DLL has designed like significant portion of the top champions in each class at this point, but then he bitches that everything he doesn't design is unbalanced. Like, DLL designed Serpent. DLL argued that Serpent is perfectly balanced, right? At the same time, DLL says that, you know, Kingpin and Doom and whatnot is insanely overtuned. But he genuinely says that Serpent's balanced. He designed and released Kate. No. Where's that multiverse arena? Let's get to these units finally. I actually used some of my 7 stars before, so that's fine. Oh, we're not for insurance now. DLL, yeah, I mean, just about. DLL is gonna tell you whatever the fuck Obama wants him to tell you. Thumbnail? Yeah, White Mommy made that thumbnail. Yeah, if she doesn't need it, then why the fuck did she have it in the kit in the first place? I mean, genuinely, with that type of argumentation, you can take away any ability from any champion. Don't need it. Who is that? DLL? One of the Kabam's champion designers, and he also has a YouTube channel, so, you know, he was a YouTuber before he was a champion designer. He said, why Serpent needs true focus since there aren't any tech champions that await and miss? What? Oh yeah, I'm not surprised if Cull is nerfed as well. I wouldn't be surprised at all. Yeah, I mean, like, well, to be honest, like, here's one thing. I never really get excited for some of the choice champions because I never get the champion that I wanted. When it comes to some of the choice champions, I don't think a single one of the champs that I voted for got added. Aside from somebody like Omega Sentinel, who, you know, I wanted, but she got added later. Only DLL's champions can be OP. Absolutely, yes. That is the story that I hear. Because I voted Blob, but Shatra won. Then this year I voted for Shroud, and Mr. Knight won. You know, and it's like that for just about every champion. Like every year, like who are some of the choice winners? I don't think I have voted for a single one of them. So I have never had the problem about, you know, getting excited about whoever won some of the choice. I definitely didn't vote for Beta Bill, for instance, if he won, but I don't think he did. He just got added randomly later, right? I didn't vote for Morbius either, for sure. No, absolutely needs Dupe and Maxi, yes. Yeah, they voted Shang-Chi, not Mallman. Oh yeah, I do think Cull is gonna get it in the neck. I also think Caroline Dean is gonna get it in the neck. I don't think Nico is gonna get it in the neck because DLL made her and she's gonna be considered balanced. Messiah, how are you doing, buddy? How's life treating you? I do remember when Broccoli designed champions. Life's living? What does that mean? The girls charged by the Omega soon. They will. I don't know. Right now, if I have to make a prediction, I think it is more likely that Carl does get changed rather than he doesn't. Yeah, the reason Kate didn't win is mainly because she was brand new and most of the people had no idea about how good she is. Also, those votes were on Twitter and everybody could vote. So that's like a big problem too. Oh yeah, this is gonna be bad, but let's try. Carl doesn't need ability to block. Well, to be fair, with those new relics, if you have a decent chunky 7-star relic, it doesn't take that much block damage. Let's see. Carl getting nerfed? I do see Carl getting nerfed. But I definitely can see Carolina Dean getting nerfed too, by the way. Because Carolina Dean is taking too many fights. She's too good in attack. As if we take a look at the matchup spreadsheet that we have just started remaking. And I know it's very bad and we just kind of could. If we take a look at the most iconic champions in the respective classes, right? And if we sort by some of these and new plus, yes, once again, I need to add one more column. Yeah. New plus, yes, 5 total. Do we need new plus, yes, plus somewhat. How did I write it here in the table? Plus somewhat. Yes, plus somewhat. How to do it? So let me just copy the formula. Da 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 da. And we're gonna look not H1, we're gonna look I1. Oh, bastard. How did I have it? H1. That's fine. Here. I2. Oh, we need I1 here as well. That's the issue. I'm saying, look up table. Can figure out what I'm doing wrong here. Three. Does that add up to 17? Yes. Ah, you bastard. Okay, this was the annoying bit that didn't want to copy paste properly. But I promise we're gonna fix this in a second. So this is I1. I forgot how to add it in. And this one was 2, 3, 4. I1. 5. Just a second. I'm a bit rusty with these things. But if this was 5, then we need 1, 6, and we need this one 7, and at 8, I believe. So okay, sounds about right. So basically, if you take a look here, right? Can I sort by 8? Is that? Nope. I could sort them here, I think. Okay, I'm a bit rusty there, but either way, it's spreadsheet's gonna kachandu. Oh, children. But Spider-Woman can overall do the most matchups. And then Caroline Dean in second place. And especially when we take a look at matchups that they are like very good or good for, Caroline Dean and Spider-Woman have very similar numbers. And is this prediction based on the Nerf Spider-Man getting? No, it's not based on the Nerf Spider-Man's getting. Okay, so for those of you who do not know what this sheet is, I used to have this sheet. It was way bigger, but it just got outdated with outdated defenders and, you know, champions that are irrelevant now. So I kind of restarted redoing this sheet. Base idea is, these are the defenders, and here we mark down whether, you know, a specific champion can do the defender and whether she does it. We have 4 different levels. If in Battlegrounds, in more or less a generic meta, you can do a champion sub 40 seconds and 100% to 95% health, then that's considered a nuke. When you can do that champion under 60 seconds and let's say 92 to 100% health, that is considered yes. Somewhat or decent is if you take either over 60 seconds or more than 10% damage. And a no is if you take over 80 seconds and or lose 20% or more health, then that classifies you as a no. For instance, a whole bunch of champions can nuke down a tumor, but you lose like more than 20% health, then we're writing in as no. You get the point? So that's kind of the explanation of that. And here are, you know, totals, and don't worry, I'll finish it and make it a bit. Rest of them? No, because somewhat and decent, like, is a very big number. So Spider-Woman here actually is in the lead. Spider-Woman can do very well 21 of the 36 matchups, but if you add in the somewhat, which is decently or well enough, then it's 30 out of 36. That is huge. 30 out of 36 best defenders in the game. It's massive. Because Caroline can do basically the same as Spider-Woman, but she has significantly less, you know, the somewhats and whatnot. So, but again, Caroline is also one of the champions that's likely getting banned. The champions like Okoye, for instance, that's very nukey, is 13. Okay, this is a mistake somewhere here. I need to fix that. Nuke plus yes. Oh no, this is correct. So 13 and 17. So like Spider-Woman effectively does, you know, twice what Okoye does. Or even like Gak. Yes plus nuke is only 15. Spider-Woman's 21. And that's 24. So those are significant differences. Also, I don't know if I told you guys, whoever is the Gulag Master of this stream, and you know, most of the streams that I will be doing, gets to pick which champion is getting added to that spreadsheet. That is how we're going to be picking who gets added. So if there's any champion that you want added faster, so whoever's the Gulag Master, at end of the stream, if they are still here. You know, if you're not here, then I can't ask you. Gets to pick a champion. Got it to the spreadsheet. I will do another 1 or 2 streams, but I add a bunch of, where I add you know, small chunk of champions. But for most part, it's gonna be you guys who decide who does get added on, who doesn't. And exactly, Carolina is not far behind Spider-Woman. But again, apparently they were not for Spider-Woman because of defense, though. So who the fuck knows, really? I think that could be interesting. Let's go. And again, I will just, if Carolina gets nerfed and yada yada, I will tell you flat out. DLL said in his stream that Carolina is overperforming offensively. So take it for what you will. But there is a good chance that she does get adjusted. Why can't I ever intercept them like this when there's an intercept meta? He's running in like for basically every one of my dash-ins and I just want him to block. I don't want to be doing this, but this could be fun. Come on then. Okay, so this bleed apparently don't. Okay, fair enough. I figured it was worth a shot. Ah, fuck. I don't have enough. I don't have deep wounds on, so that bleed doesn't really. Oh, I should not have done this. Fuck it. There's a 5 in damage right now, so again, those numbers don't mean anything. And having 5 in damage doesn't mean that you should be able to take as many champions. Now there are a multitude of champions that have very high damage ratings, but they're useless. Again, we don't need to equate, you know, a champion having a lot in damage with a champion being able to do 15 or 20 out of 30 best attackers, you know what I mean? It's like idont is probably a lot in damage, but you know, he's not a popular champion because he doesn't do many of the hard matchups these days, as an example. I'm waiting for Jean. I'm waiting for the woman. I'll show corporate office. Be careful, K-Dog. Like, somebody said something similar, obviously a joke, and they traveled to the last Summoner Showdown event, and they didn't let them in. They said like, oh, you like, cause actually there was one of my viewers. I forgot who that was exactly. There's one of my viewers who made a joke similar to what K-Dog just did. And when he appeared to this Summoner Fest event in Canada, and he traveled a fairly large distance, they didn't let him in. And they had a screenshot from the stream with his username and chat like highlighted red, and basically somebody snitched on him that is this guy, and you know, yada yada yada, and they kind of like double checked. Like, is this your YouTube account? Like, yeah, and they didn't let the guy in. What's up, Alex? Let's come out and decide who knows. Who the fuck knows, relax. Nobody knows. It's like they're fucking throwing darts at the dartboard. I remember that. Yep. Fucking pussy company. Swear to God, I don't think I am aware of a larger gathering of spineless pussies that people that work in that. They are so fragile as well. The stupid gifting thing happening? What gifting thing? We are able to gift something? I know, I need to check. Where do you hear something about gifting? I'm waiting for the big surprise coming soon in that conversation. What surprise are you speaking of? It gives me something like an infection, then. Alright. But let's check it out. Checkmate, they're hypocrites? What do you mean? How dare you say that? Does anyone remember an attacker getting the same outrage for not getting buffed? No, because we accept shit attackers because a whole bunch of them are shit. There are tons of champions that should have gotten buffed and didn't. Crystals, items, boosts. I don't give shit. Huh? I don't know what they're on about. Whatever. Nico, pre-fight and defense. Yeah, no. I mean, who knows what they will decide to do? Imagine Dracula as Morbius reskin? Nah, it's gonna be different. They wouldn't do that. Let's get at least like 4.5 million. And get right there is a gifting event, nothing to gift. I mean, it's probably a bug or something. The chance that they are offering in those pictures online. I know, right? Like with those champions. Well, Morbius has more damage than Jax, says Kabam. I mean, Morbius should have gotten banned then. Sorry, Morbius should have gotten buffed then. Shatter or the hood? Shatter is better rank up. Oh, send you a gift. How do you get this shit? What the fuck do they do anyways? Yeah, I'll restart the game again and we'll see what happens. Good data. But hey. To really hold them accountable for the stats not matching reality? We can't, because Kabam has specifically said those stats don't mean anything. They're completely arbitrary. Except when they use it to justify a nerf, obviously. I don't know, but I really don't know. I do think there is a chance they adjust the way they tune her down, but we'll see what they decide to do. I think whatever they do decide, we're gonna know about it within the next week. TV is cancelled. That's bullshit. That is not true at all. First of all, FTP is needed and they know that. Being a whale doesn't matter if there aren't any peasants around that you can flex on. Trust me, if there are no peasants, whales have like majority of the whales would stop caring about the game. It's only cool being a whale if not everybody playing the game is. That's one thing. Second thing, every FTP play, as far as Kabam's concerned, is a potential spending play. Because that's how most or many of the people start playing the game. Because, you know, they just pick it up, play it super casually, start liking it, and then there's like, I'll drop $5, I'll drop $10, I'll get a sigil, oh, this offer looks really good, and so on and so forth. So, when Kabam looks at every and any single free-to-play player, they're looking for that unique angle how to entice you to spend. Not that they hate you. That is that they are willing to do everything they possibly can to convince you to spend. They're still upside down side on Nerf? Yes. I still rank up my Spider-Man? Probably. I mean, I genuinely think even after the nerf, she would still be like a top 5 science champion. But again, minimizing this change, like, what's the best way to put it? When you say I don't think it's that big of a deal, I'll bring a precedent on to you. As an example, Mr. Sith Supreme. Mallman, before his bug fix, was a top 3 or top 5 skill champion. Undoubtedly. One of the more popular rank ups, used just about everywhere, Alliance War, Battlegrounds, and questing, and everywhere. Mallman was legitimately top 3, top 5 skill class champion. The minute they bug fixed him, he still good, usable, but he lost the edge. Hardly any, like very few people do anything with Mallman these days. What was the change? Wasn't that they took away his evade counter? It's that Kabam said that he can't counter evade and do big damage at the same time. That was the only thing. They didn't even fully take away, because he didn't lose a shred of damage. He didn't lose his evade counter. The only thing that they changed about Mallman was that he couldn't have both at the same time anymore. That change was enough to make him significantly more shit, to the point where he is no longer a meta champion. They issued rundown tickets. Yeah, the thing is, I don't give a shit. I have never liked rundown tickets. Like, because I don't want a fucking rundown ticket. I want the champions that I like to remain the way I like it. Like, they issued rundown tickets for Malman. I used them at a time. Eventually, I think I did rank Malman back up because I need him for Alliance War, and that was like a niche scenario, and similarly how I ranked up Lady Deathstrike. But I'm still not happy that Malman is more shit than he used to be. Right? But again, like, the fact that he hasn't aged as well is like a different thing. But even at the time of the change, that was enough for Malman not to be relevant anymore. And what they're taking away from Spider-Woman is worse, because not only they are taking the evade counter fully away from her, they're also taking the ability to reduce opponent's ability accuracy and thus fail some abilities. So they're doing Spider-Woman is significantly bigger change than whatever they did to Malman with that pick. Because again, Malman didn't lose his evade counter, Malman didn't lose his damage. So basically you're upset because you like Spider-Woman? No. I mean, like, also, but not only that. I am upset because yes, I do like Spider-Woman, because yes, she is going to be significantly worse, not just barely any worse. Also, I am very upset with the way Kabam is doing it, with how they are gaslighting the community, with the way they speak, the way like, oh, we're not touching her offensively. Yes, you are. Now, if they wanted to change her defensively, they could have just made ensnare not work on defense, or better yet, get rid of the fumble debuff instead of ensnare, or better yet, make the ensnare a free fight, or a multitude of different. They didn't do that because they're honest swine. That is what upsets me as much as change to the Spider-Woman. Additionally to all of it, like as we discussed before, the fact that they use the justification of some sort of arbitrary number, she's marked as a 3.5 defender. Earlier on the stream, we went through a ton of champions, like Max is marked as a 4 defender and ease of use for damage and survivability and everything fucking max. Does that fit? No. We also discovered, for instance, that Destroyer has 4 in defender strength and 4 in damage. Right? So check this out. The Destroyer has 4 in defender strength and 4 in damage. Werewolf by Night has 3 in damage and 4 in defender strength. But wait, it gets better. So, like, where is the Werewolf by Night for defender strength? By the way, I'm just wondering. Oh wait, shit. Destroyer, 4 in damage, 4 in defender strength. Werewolf by Night, 3 in damage. 3 in damage for Werewolf. So Destroyer is meant to have significantly more damage than Werewolf, for instance. But Werewolf is meant to have 4 in the defender strength. At the same time, Juggernaut has 4 in damage. And 3.5 in defender strength. Okay, watch this. 3.5 in defender strength. Where the fuck is that 3.5? Okay, let's Luminatrix has 4 in damage, so the same as well, allegedly. 3 in defense. Is Werewolf better defender than Luminatrix? Oh yeah, I mean, obviously, I don't hate Sith, but I find what Kabam is doing increasingly disgusting. Like, on a personal and moral level, I find the way they are conducting themselves as business repulsive. And it's not just the Spider-Woman thing, but the Spider-Woman thing exemplifies just about everything. And the way they are gaslighting people, the way they are being dishonest, the way they are messaging, the way they are doing things. And this time around, it has an added benefit of effectively ruining my gaming experience by making the champion that I effectively like this year the most significantly worse. So yeah, I'm pissed off about this, as well as plenty of other things that they're doing with the Spider-Man change. that they did with the energy refill change, that they did with the top 30 prestige, that they did with the elder difficulty. What's the name of this website? Oh, it's Kabam blog. You can just access champion showcases all there. It's the Kabam's blog website. See? It's this one. So just go to the champions and you can look up them. Look them up. But yeah, no. I genuinely find it disgusting and repulsive. And very significant what they're doing. And to me, it genuinely is a big deal. And it feels wrong in every which way I look at it. There. And the last sentence as well, yeah. Also the fact, for instance, like, every which way you look at it, something about that post pissed me off. The way they says, like, oh, we don't want too many rough defenders, but them nerfing her offensively as much as defensively, that genuinely bugs me. Another thing that really kind of is like an added cherry to the top, we had to wait like a year for Patriot to get tuned up. And the change was fucking minimal. Like, Patriot was incredibly shit, and now he's significantly shit. You know, Patriot's better than he used to be, fair enough, but absolutely nothing about him really changed. You know, they changed like 2 or 3 lines of text in Patriot, and he's still exactly the same champion and does exactly the same fights. None of his abilities change. And we had like wait for over a year for that. But the Spider-Woman, somehow, for some reason, I'm just gonna lump it in with the batch that was meant to be 3 champions, right? You want to say we're gonna be doing this in batch of 3s. But when it comes to nerfing Spider-Woman, all of a sudden they are willing to make an exception and make it happen as quick as possible in the next batch. That also irks me the wrong way. Because all of a sudden it's not that important to stick to those batches of 3 or those schedules and deadlines and whatnot. And yeah, like earlier in the stream, I genuinely discussed how I'm having much less fun, to a point that I don't remember myself not wanting or having less fun with the game just about ever. Also, how every single change that Kabam has made is making the game worse for me. As in, top 30 prestige is not a good thing for me by any means. Right? As in, you know, what they try to do with energy refills. That was not good for me or any player. But they backed off it after like a war. But it still doesn't change the fact that they tried to do it. Or relics. The way they release relics with new crystals and all that stuff. It's not for the betterment of players, it's for betterment of them. Elder difficulty. Not the type of content I look forward to playing. It really isn't. Even after the change, it's still shit. Like, it really is. It's not to make the game better for me. Because again, they can't be bothered to update event quest nodes in like half a decade. Every single fight I did this month in that event quest, outside of boss fights, I have done half a dozen times. Because they have exactly the same champions and exactly the same nodes. For half a decade. Additionally, the fact that I, for whatever reason, again, need to clear like classic difficulty, similarly how previously I needed to do the Thronebreaker difficulty, is not for the betterment of me. It's not making my gameplay experience better. It's making it actively worse. You understand what I'm talking about? Every single thing that Kabam is doing and changing the way the game works, the decisions they're making, they're not making the game better or more fun for me. And obviously then you add in the bugs, the AI issues, the every other shit that goes wrong, the infinite amount of compensations that we're still waiting for. And it's getting less and less enjoyable and fun for me. It's also the design decisions, how they micromanage champions. Like again, I discussed how like we have so many defenders that you effectively die or time out against unless you have like this specific type of defender. I don't like that. I think if you have a good counter, you should, you know, do that fight very well. But if you have at least acceptable counter, and there should be plenty, like you should be able to at least do the fight somewhat decently. Again, like, you know, Photon, you don't have a perfect counter, but you can kind of do the Photon fight in many metas. Or like, you know, Korg or whatever else not. But now we're getting champions who are just fucked and dead. You don't have the exact counter. And I don't like that. I also don't like how half of the champions that I play feel like I'm playing against the champion as much as I'm playing against the opponent. Where Solvark is an excellent example. Where I need to, you know, build up this many charges, then I need to build up this special attacking note, and then I need to tap on the block that many times, and then I need to convert the, you know, my energy into armor ups, and then my armor ups into energize, and then build up more charges, and then do this. Like, fuck me, I just want to hit the opponent. You know, I accept that, you know, champions should be played at least somewhat differently, but just way too much. And so yeah, I don't think that these new design decisions are making the game better for me. They're making it less fun for me. The fact that every new defender is a mini boss, walking mini boss, that doesn't need nodes to wreck you, and then they put nodes on top of them anyways, it doesn't sit well with me. And it's not about fights being easy. I don't mind hard fights. But again, I hate these champions where I need to read and memorize and play around a fucking, you know, Wikipedia article. Well, it's not, Solvark's not just get the charge god special 3. Because you need to get the charges, and then you need the energizes, and then you need, what? Starting felt like playing Spider-Man Pedro feels like you punch in the face, kind of. But anyways. It's not just, again, it's obviously not Solvark, but Solvark is a very good example of what I'm talking about. But there are so many champions that feel like, oh, you just need to do this and this and that and that and that, and then you do something, and I'm like, fuck off. No, live stream is gonna be next week. Oh wait, shit. Whoopsies. Yeah, Enchantress is definitely fucking awful design. Enchantress is god awful design. Well, I actually enjoy Lumitrix somewhat, but the reason why I like Lumitrix is because you have some sort of freedom using him. If you want to, you know, play Lumitrix, you can go for level 2s, you can go for level 1s, you can ramp up this way, you can ramp up that way, and you know, you do get these extra overnight. I enjoy using Lumitrix. Lumitrix is a good example of a champion that at least has a little bit of freedom associated with him, because there is no like mandated way how I have to play him. Like I can be more aggressive and build up power quicker, or I can build up my charges quicker. I can, you know, use my invisibility to the max and push opponent to which special attack I want, or I can just continuously keep knocking him down. I can do the, you know, level 1, level 2, and then try and go for finish, or you know, you can spam level 1s if you want to as well, and so on and so forth. So there are plenty of things. Oh, perfect. I should have done this from the beginning. This is actually kind of cheesy. I actually like this matchup now. Anyway. I mean, like, obviously the bleeding meat isn't helping, but I don't like it. Yeah. The nerfs are going into Serpent not getting nerfed. You know, kind of, yeah. Spider-Man nerf is... What's the best way to put it? It's not necessarily either one of those two things happening. It's the fact that both of them happen. Because if Serpent got nerfed and Spider-Man got nerfed, you know, it would be more of a fair enough. But if Kabam had the same messaging, I'd still be pissed off. Because the way they talk to us is disgusting. But if Serpent was nerfed and Spider-Man get nerfed, at least there'd be like, yeah, you know, kind of get it or whatever. But the problem is that kind of like champs like Serpent didn't get nerfed, and Spider-Woman does.
Let's go, bub.
And Freddy Imperios kid is likely. Oh, we'll see. Why do you think she's likely at Cosmic though? I mean, it could be. Encounters. Yeah, of course this is gonna be the way to make more money. But again, that end snare is actually very fucking significant Spider-Woman even in fights like against Serpent, for instance, because you can do Serpent somewhat decently, and one of the reasons that did help you a lot was that end snare at times failing the power gains, failing other things, at times failing immortality, and you could never rely on it, but 30% throughout the entire fight is enough to fail some significant abilities to make the fight more manageable. It's the same thing like against Spider-Woman, for instance. The fact that Ensnare not only could nerf sorry, not Spider-Man, it's against Dark Phoenix. Not only Ensnare couldn't bypass Dark Phoenix's immortality sometimes, you could also fail the Nova Flame from triggering. So that is 30%. You could also fail the root from triggering, so you don't have to take the block damage. And you could also fail that Fury from triggering, so you take less. You know what I mean? And like one of those things in the fight was bound to happen, or a few of them, and that was enough to make a lot of matchups more manageable. So it is a big fucking change, and that's even before discussing their weight, which again I used Mole Man example to kind of like show how big of a deal that was. Right or wrong? What skill classes cannot know? What? I mean, she's mutant. I think a lot of things Kabam does is making everybody mad right now. I know that it definitely is with me. Oh shit, I might. Martin? You do arena after the stream? Well, you could be doing arena right. This one is still a pain because, yeah, I mean, idonts will eventually go to the baseball. Kabam has said that. God knows when, though. Because, you know, we have a ton of champions that have been introduced in the game ages ago that still are not in the baseball. Loving the thumbnail. Thanks, buddy. White Mommy made it. Spider-Man's too powerful. The issue is that, well, again, you can say that in a vacuum, and I can kind of agree with it. You know, community likes overpowered, always has. But here are going to be a few things. I don't think Spider-Man is top 3 champion in game. So I wouldn't call that, you know, overpowered. I'd call that at the peak level of strength, but I wouldn't call that overpowered. Because objectively speaking, Serpent, Thanos, and Onslaught all are more valuable and impactful champions than Spider-Woman is. That is one. Number 2, not completely unrelated. In a world where Serpent doesn't get nerfed, he's objectively more powerful. He has, you know, less counters. The counters are significantly more mandatory to him. Up to top 5. Yeah, but she's not top 3. Because whenever I talk about top 5, top 6, top 7, whatever, I do specify there are top 3 champions above that, in the highest tier. Then there's like 4 and 5, which I consider Nico, and then there's like 6, 7, and 8, and whatnot. Spider-Woman is not the highest tier. Serpent is, Thanos is, Onslaught is. None of them got adjusted. So that if Spider-Woman would be the best champion in the game, or at the very peak there, at the highest tier, I could kind of argue with that. I could go with your argument that, you know, it's overpowered when you deal with it. Like, fuck me, have you seen Thanos? Have you seen Serpent? I would agree with what you're saying. In an MCOC, where insanely overpowered defenders don't exist, where we don't have defenders like Yelena, where it's either you have a counter or you're dead, where we don't have defenders like Serpent, where either you have like a perfect counter or you're dead. If you didn't have that type of defenders, I'd agree that, you know, we don't need a champion that does almost all, you know, all of these matches stuff like that. But we do have those defenders. And Kabam, sure, shit ain't taking them away. But again, Kabam is saying that it is because of her defensive prowess, not offensive prowess, so there's absolutely no reason to remove it on attack, for instance. Right? Because the justification for that was Spider-Man being too potent for defender. Or are you telling me that Kabam might not be entirely honest with us? Yeah, Serpent is a perfect example of champions so fucking overpowered on defense that even the perfect counters often don't work if the nodes are a bit too finicky. Because God knows how many times there is, like, when you can't use Chels, if there is stunning reflection, and then you can't use Kushala, and you can't use and then. Serpent is like an excellent example of a champion where half the metas, counters that are supposed to be good, don't even fucking work against him. They use defense as an excuse to nerf her offensively. Exactly. Exactly. And, you know, that is another one of those things that, you know, feels disgusting to me. I'm so tired of this double speak and gaslighting and lying. Every time Kabam posts something, I never believed it. You know, every time they make a change or make an announcement or say something about anything, I just don't believe a word coming out of their mouth because they always lie. What's up, Southside? Because again, if what they said is true and they want to rein her in defensively, which I don't personally necessarily agree with, but if what they themselves say is true, there is zero reason to take away the ensnare also on attack. They're like half the time, negligent that. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I mean, like, not all the time, obviously, but you kind of summed it up. It's half it is lies, half it is hypocrisy, half it is incompetence, half it is negligence, half it is, you know, like thing and whatnot. So, I know there's a lot of halves, but you guys get the point. It's a mixture of things. Obviously, it is a mixture of things, but nothing they write about anything, you know, I take on face value. They had to create champions called in servant though. Yeah, there are plenty of champions that counter Spider-Woman, nuke her. Like Medusa nukes her, Khal nukes her, Crossbone nukes her, Thanos nukes her. Hello. You live? Oh, I couldn't hear you. Something was not good. I guess I'm gonna call you again. See whether this works well enough. Yeah, I mean, like, the one thing Kabam had going on for this year was the fact that there were a whole bunch of champions that are kind of cool. But I have to say that more often than not, in the last 2 or 3 months, the champions that they have made are kind of mid at best. And Silver Surfer seems to be, Silver Samurai seems to be doing fine, but what's wrong, Sid? What is wrong, Sid? Why are you not talking to me? But take a look at this. Hashtag playable. 1 second. If you take a look at this, by release, after Carolina and Nico, Maker's mid at best. I'd say shit. High Evolutionary's mid at best. I'd say shit. Like, even as a defender, he's kind of fail. Solvark has defensive value, but, you know, I wouldn't call him like a great champion. But, you know, okay, Solvark's fine-ish. There are people who do like him. Cassandra, I don't think Cassandra's great. I think Cassandra is just, again, not quite good enough. Then there's Silver Samurai, who I think is fine. I think he's good, and I don't think he's like amazing. Definitely not better like Jean and stuff, but he's fine. And then there's Mr. Knight, who, again, I'm not super excited about. So Kabam was kind of on a hot streak in between Okoye, Gentle, Zola. Then there was one dud. Then, you know, we have Jean, Bastion's fine too, and Spider-Woman, obviously awesome, Lumitrix, and that's powerful, and that's good, and that's great, and that's good. And then they're like, eh. They kind of have fizzled out in the last 3 months. But still, champions were the best thing of this year. Still are, I guess. But, you know, with Kabam nerfing Spider-Woman, every other champion that's like afterwards, after Spider-Woman, kind of feels like Kabam could be nerfing them too. So, you know, Khal, that I didn't even mention here. You know, lots of people love. Khal is definitely not safe. Sorry, I didn't notice I was talking. I'm calling you now. Can you hear me now?
I can hear you now.
I can hear you now too. Wonderful.
Alright, so what I was saying about it, you had mentioned crossbones being one of her counters, but like even on node 42 in war, like sometimes she would fail the ability accuracy reduction. Because of the way that
again, but that's what nodes are for. Half of Serpent counters don't work in half of the metas against Serpent. You know what I mean? It's kind of like
right.
There are a ton of champions that even rely on it. For instance, champion like Modok. Modok is a shit defender unless he's on some place stun immune, and then you need like very specific counter. But even with like Serpent, for instance, you know, just like a great example. We have hazard chip node of, I don't know, bleed and incinerate or something, bleed or something, right? Nico can't do that fight anymore. Nico's gonna die. And she's a count. Oh, and at the same time, Chavez can't do that fight anymore. And then there's gonna be a whole bunch of champions that can do it. That's the point of nodes, to make those fights more complicated, where some of the counters don't work.
Well, sometimes it works in the opposite way too, though. There's been nodes where like Kindred and Wiccan work for Serpent.
Yeah, I mean, like, yeah, sometimes it works in the opposite way. Exactly, I agree. And that's normal. That's what nodes do. So I don't, you know, find the fact that, you know, for instance, Spider-Woman on a specific node is hard counter. Like, my answer to that would be, it's like, then change the fucking war nodes. Like, if there's, like, no good counters to it.
In a way, I mean, I think that you are right that they should just remove it from her defensive kit, because that obviously wasn't her target to be that strong as a defender. But I don't really have faith that they would remove it from her defensive part of her kit and not mess it up.
I mean, then bug fix her. Like, do that, and when something goes wrong, mess it up and bug fix her. Like, mess everything else up and then bug fix it. That again.
I mean, realistically, what do you care about the ensnared for the ability accuracy or for the evade counter?
Both, because both, again, like, the reason why I care about ability accuracy, I just explained about Dark Phoenix fight as an example. 30% is not enough for that to be something that you rely on happening, right? But it is something that, number one, gives you fighting chance at any given position, but most importantly, that 30% is like effectively almost 1 in 3, right? But in a fight, that 1 in 3 adds up for each individual ability, and I think, again, Dark Phoenix is a perfect fight to describe it. Because if you got Dark Phoenix, like, what is the problem with Dark Phoenix? Number one, like, her level 2 roots you, and you end up taking block damage, especially if you're already incinerated. Well, you have 30% to chance to fail that root and not taking that block damage. That's useful. Not something you rely on, but that's useful. At the same time, as you have 30% of doing that, if you don't fail that root, you have a chance to fail that Nova Flame from activating, kind of like if you are failing, let's say, Void's debuff, you know, with Mantis and Tranquilize. So you do have a 30% chance not to get Nova Flamed, either when Immortality triggers, if it does, because you have 30% chance of failing that, and you have 30% chance on her letting trigger the Immortality, but not getting that long as Nova Flame. So that 30% chance over the course of fight is huge. And that happens in a ton of fights. Also, you know, fights like...
What about...
Yeah?
What about when it's at a disadvantage? As far as like, okay, like you said, it's not that great of a percentage. So in those kind of scenarios, like against Serpent or Dark Phoenix, when it, you know, it could fail certain abilities that could benefit you in the fight, it is nice. But what about a situation as far as like you fight Onslaught or you fight Jean Grey, and there's a chance it could fail the reverse controls, or it might not. So like you push Onslaught to special 2, the majority of the time I do, because it's faster for the fight time, and you're counting on it being reverse control if you're not using a reverse control immune. Well, in that sort of situation, you can mess up the decks because it
I do agree, but here's the difference. The difference is that them failing or something not failing is something that fair for failure, play around, or at the very least prepared. Yes, it is a time that it is a thing that can kind of mess you up. It's similar to Starkhand and Spider-Man's Await, right? When you're taking a hit in a block and the Await triggers, it can mess you up, can be a detriment, but it is something that if you are prepared for, you can deal with, you can work around with. As long as you are aware and paying attention to it, it might be an inconvenience at times, yes, but ultimately I still think it is a net positive that she has that ability, just like I think the net positive the Starkhand Spider-Man has those evades in one. Like for instance, there have been fights against Kindred when I use Starkhand Spider-Man and I go into punish his level 1, and then I evade that level 1 from my block, and then I can't punish that and mess up my fight. Yeah, it can happen. Like many things can happen, but number one, if you're aware, you have a chance to play around. But the thing that you don't have a chance to play around is the fucking immortality that Phoenix has. The thing that you don't have a chance to play around is that fucking no flame that triggers on you. So one of those things is an inconvenience that can lead up, but on the other end, we're dealing abilities that will fuck you up. You know what I mean? So I'd much rather deal with an inconvenience in order to prevent inevitability.
And I agree from the offensive standpoint. I just think it's way too strong as like on the defensive standpoint. Like if you go in that fight against her with Crossbones or Venom, which Venom technically in his kit is supposed to be able to counter all the Spider-Verse champs, then what is the like I don't think that either one of them should be failing at what they're good at doing against her in that specific matchup. Like she shouldn't be able to fail Venom's Clintar buff where he can't basically counter her evade, and then she shouldn't be able to mess with Crossbones' ability accuracy reduction, which is how he does that fight so well also. Because there's a chance you could do that fight in 30 seconds, but then there's a chance that you can get ruined.
Yeah, but there are two things with that. Number one, I mean, I do agree, but to that I have a couple of more things that I do have to say. There's a champion like Domino exists, right? Where there's a passive 15% chance all the time, plus that happens. Right? And also, there are champions that are meant to be good against her or are good against her that can still get fucked up by her because of that 15% chance, right? And Kebab has been building counters specifically for that. But Domino has existed since like God knows however fucking long. So it's not pleasant, but saying that it's not also unprecedented in the game by any means. And that's and here's gonna be the difference. Against Domino, you can't play around that, right? You can with ability accuracy immunity to ability accuracy reduction or increased ability accuracy, but guess what? Every single one of those things also work against Spider-Woman. You can also have champions that are immune to ability accuracy reduction, or just have increased ability accuracy. There are, in fact, more champions, for instance, that have increased parry ability accuracy, so on and so forth. And Kabam can be releasing champions like that in the future as well. But that is one aspect. Because again, Domino exists, and Domino has existed for whatever, and I have never heard a campaign for people to cancel Domino's crit fail abilities because it's unfair. We all, we know, like, we hate fighting Domino, but we made our peace with it. And that has existed in the game. But wait, let me finish. That is one, because Domino exists. Number two, right? Number two, let's find where we have. Every 15 seconds, inflict an instant debuff and 100% severe fumble debuff for 7 seconds. This timer pauses during Spider-Man's special attacks, and as a defender, these debuffs cannot be inflicted during the opponent's special attacks. You can play around it. This is no different than like encroaching nodes or anything else. Make sure that you're activating a special attack when the timer would expire. Done. You never get an instant on you. You never get a fumble on you. So not only you have a way to play around this, unlike with Domino where it just happens, but also we have precedent of that happening in the game. So you can outskill this with any champion like Venom or like Crossbones or whatever else. Right?
You can't outskill it, but she's not. That's not her target though. She's not meant to be that strong of a defender. Like you can outskill it. But that's not like her build. She was meant to be a strong offensive champion, not a strong defensive champion. Like, let's just say you can't outskill that fight, right? Like you like just any casual player that doesn't understand how to avoid the fumble and how to avoid
then learn.
being snared.
Let's say let's say you're a
strong
casual fucking
counters
player and you have to face Serpent in arena. Because there are fights you can't outskill, like Serpent. There are a ton of fights you have to outskill.
I mean,
like Korg, let's say you're a casual player and you don't know how to light intercept and you can't read and you can't light and you don't know how to light or whatever else not. Then Korg is a fucking nightmare. Then Korg if you're a casual player, Korg leaps by a factor of, I don't know, 10 in terms of difficulty, in terms of how many matchups there are.
Yeah, but Korg has strong counters.
So does Spider-Woman.
What name? Which one though? Which, like Okoye?
Yeah, Okoye, for instance.
But I'm saying outside of that though, what do we got? Kate Bishop?
I mean Venom.
Yeah, but she has a chance to fail that.
Activate a special attack and she won't. It's not hard-ass to activate a special attack in a specific time. It's same thing in that case, by your fucking argument, then Null is insane defender that just puts on reverse controls on you and goes unstoppable and unblockable. Or you activate special attack when the timer expires. You know what? You see what I'm talking about? In that case, Mantis is fucking unfair. Mantis activates level 1. You're crazy. And you get slapped on.
Well, so I'm not saying there's not a way to skill around it. Just like your example with Korg, it's the same thing with Null. Like there's champions that are reverse control immune.
There are champions that are ability accuracy reduction immune.
No
there are champions that are immune to ability accuracy reduction, and a lot of them. And Kabam can make more.
So which
as well.
ones are? Well, I mean, if they're selling her as a defender, then it would make sense because then you could sell counters. But they're not selling her as a defender. She's too strong on both sides. Is basically the argument, in my opinion. Like, she's too strong on both sides.
Yeah,
I mean, it's cool that she's
too strong on both sides. We have Thanos on attack. Like we have Thanos. Thanos is insanely strong on both sides. Serpent is insanely strong on both sides. Yeah, he's not like the fastest in battlegrounds, but overall, he's like insane on defense, and he's also insane on attack, especially outside of battlegrounds.
I guess that's where, like, my opinion is different, because the Thanos thing is different, because there's a massive ask to get him. Like, you had to invest a lot of time and effort into getting him, if not money.
And Serpent, exactly as much as Spider-Woman.
But in my opinion, I'd rather face Serpent on defense than Spider-Woman on defense.
I don't. Because against Spider-Woman with a random champion, I have a chance. Like here's why I'm gonna explain that. Because Spider-Woman, I can outskill. It might not be the prettiest fight, but I have done Spider-Woman fight with a whole bunch of random champions. It's not always pretty. I might end up taking chip damage, or it might take a while. But I can do Spider-Woman with random champions, especially if I do have parry available to me. But against Serpent, I'm just gonna die. Or timeout in the best case, but probably die. So no, I'll fucking take Spider-Woman 10 times out of 10 before I want to fight Serpent with a random champion.
I guess it's a matter of opinion.
No, it's an objective fact. Against Spider-Woman, without a perfect counter, you can do that fight. Against Serpent, without a good counter, you will die. That is a fact.
But I mean, I've done the Serpent fight with Guardian. I've done that fight with Captain Britt.
Under specific metas, as you have said yourself, there aren't some metas, some occasions that do allow you to do that. That's not a norm.
I've done the Captain Britain fight this meta.
Well,
This
again,
meta, because you can eat a special 3 and it limits the damage, and after her special 3 she gets increased damage. You could technically do that fight this meta, and this is a tough
and a
meta
great.
for Serpent.
So again, so technically you can do that. But, you know, that's good. That's a funny interaction. That's fine. That's anecdote. Like that is anecdotal. So you can count Captain Britain to be one of those champions that is capable of doing that fight because of a specific mechanic. So that's fine. So in that case, you can list Captain Britain as somewhat feasible counter to Serpent. It doesn't mean that many other champions can. Fact of the matter is, unless you do have a champion that has an ability like that or is purpose built against Serpent, you will die. But against Spider-Woman, you can pick a somewhat random champion. You can pick a fucking Hulk or whatever that has nothing that's meant to help you in that fight in any significant manner. And you can do that fight.
But you could also get wrecked in that fight.
Yeah, but that's the difference. That there's a chance that you can do it. It's kind of like with Photon. Like, you know, you can get wrecked by Photon, but Photon can be done with significant amount of champions.
So it's like a gambling thing, like you're saying with Serpent, right? Like if you go in the fight with someone you know you can do the fight, then it's a little bit different. You go in there with someone that probably can't do the fight, like you said, either you die or you just don't get the fight done. And you feel like you have a chance with Spider-Woman, but
I feel like where it depends on me and how well I do.
I feel like you roll the dice every time you go into a fight.
No, because it's not rolling a dice, because it is I am given a chance to be good enough at the game to play the game. That is opposite of rolling a dice. It would be rolling a dice if it would be out of fight or something like that, where I don't have a personal input in the fight. What I am talking about is a chance to actually complete that fight. If I fuck up, I fuck up. It's on me. And I don't mind doing hard fights. My issue, for instance, is against Serpent and, you know, a bunch of other defenders these days, I don't even have a chance regardless of how well I play. Either I will time out or take insane amounts of damage or die in that fight because of the way those defenders are structured, because of like unavoidable damage of Dark Phoenix, for instance. That is my problem with those defenders, because I don't have an opportunity to try to play if I don't have a perfect counter. With champions like Spider-Man, I do. Things can get wrong, I can fuck up, it can be bad, the fight might not be pretty, but every time I press fight button and the fight starts at 100% health and 100% health, with significant amount of champions, I have a chance to do that fight.
But that's kind of like a way that you're bringing it in is like, it's like a comparison thing. Like you can't, on like a scale of just bringing her up by herself, like I'm not saying that there's not more broken champions, and we don't know what's going to happen with Dark Phoenix still, but as times went on, like Serpent has become more manageable.
You know why Serpent has become manageable? Because Serpent is a fucking cancer on decks, because you have to include significant amount of counters to Serpent and to Dark Phoenix or you lose. Only reason he's manageable is because Spiral is a champion that objectively sucks. She's relevant because you need this counter to Serpent and Dark Phoenix. Only reason Diablo has any type of visibility right now is because he countered Dark Phoenix and he kind of does Serpent somewhat well enough. Isabene's only selling point is that you can do that one matchup and that one matchup on. That is bad for the game. Yes, Serpent is manageable, but Serpent is not organically manageable. Serpent is manageable because Kabam has sold us the viewers, basically. But we have to carry those, answers in our decks always, even if they suck. Because those champions are that relevant. Spider-Woman is a defender that is tricky, that can get you, that will get you, but you have the answers to Spider-Woman organically within your deck. You can, you have the Okois, you have whatever else that you're running anyways, and even if you don't draw a direct counter to Spider-Woman, you can still do that fight. I mean, not ideally, you can. Yep. You can do that.
You can't generally, you've talked about this a lot though. You two people could pick up the game on the same day, and play the game equally for 3 months and still be at different skill levels.
Of course.
Right? So what you're doing is you're asking the general audience of MCOC or the general player to
Absolutely
basically
not.
get better at the game.
Absolutely not. First of all, I think getting better at the game is good for everybody if you do manage it. But no. Because what I'm saying is that the ability to get better at the game is what determines whether you play in C5, C6, or fucking Quantum 8. That's it. As it should be. Not how lucky you are drafting a fucking serpent. No?
I mean, but like you said, I feel...
I mean, if you suck
like
at the
it's
game, if
so-
you're bad at the game, you shouldn't be in C5. And you should lose to Spider-Woman. But you should lose because you're bad at the game, not because you didn't get lucky enough to get a counter.
I guess that's what I mean by how it's a matter of opinion. Because, in my opinion, like you were just saying, you can prepare your deck to have multiple counters for Serpent, right?
Mm-hmm.
But if you don't know how to manage that Spider-Woman fight, that's a skill ask, right? You're saying anyone in the deck could possibly do it, right? But it requires a skill ask.
Yeah,
But
a game like fucking
realistically,
Battlegrounds,
let's
a
just say-
fighting game should require a skill ask. I don't think that's a wild thing to say. I don't think that should be a matter of opinion. If you don't want a skill
Right, but-
ask to exist in a game, go play a fucking card game.
But you're also pushing people away. I know because
I'm not pushing anybody
the difference
away.
in me and you playing, right? Like the difference between me and you playing, right? Like I spend more, you're more skilled, right? That's where we stand at the game. So
Okay.
if what you're saying is true, then you're pushing back on that because. See, me, I could spend a bunch of money to make sure I build my deck to
It does not-
give me better chances,
Yeah, but
right?
it doesn't automatically mean you should
But-
lose. Spending money means you should have an advantage, right? You spending a bunch of money means that you have higher ranked champions, you have access to champions that I don't. And that is what gives you advantage. Me having to do the fight with a rank 3 against a rank 4 defender, and you having to do a fight with a rank 4 attacker against my rank 3 defender is what money buys you. As well as the fact that you get the rarest and newest defenders and champions that I don't have access to. The money does not and should never buy your ability to do every fight as well as somebody who is 3 times as skilled as you are. Money is there to give you advantage, not
way-
an automatic win.
In a way, I agree. I just don't agree with the way the skill ask in that specific scenario against Spider-Woman. Like you know, like I've sent you the screenshot where I could. It's not like I can't do the fight myself. I'm just saying in a general viewpoint, like there's people that just don't get to that level of skill. And I'm not saying
And what I am saying is, if you can't get to a half decent level of skill where you're able to do that fight, that is your disadvantage. That is what creates this dichotomy where skill and spending and roster and everything else matters. Your spending, it's like not every single thing has to be neutral or in your favor in a game or like that. You get advantage by having a bigger roster, by having more champions, by having higher signature levels, etc, etc, etc. Skill is also a factor. If you have less of it, that is a disadvantage towards you. Your advantages might overcome that, but it doesn't automatically get to destroy me.
Right, but
Because
I'm
with
not
your
even
argument
looking
and
at it.
with your logic, the reasoning there is I should never win against you because you have bigger deck, you have more sig levels, and you have better champions. Unless I get lucky in the draft, basically I should never win against you, even if I'm more skilled.
No, but we play on
let
a
me finish
different
it.
level
The
than
fact
I'm
that I
talking
am
about,
capable
though.
of doing a fight that you are not could be advantage in my side. Don't you agree with that?
Yeah, in our scenario, like
Yeah, in
a
every
battleground
scenario. The fact that I am capable of doing a fight that my opponent is not should be one of the advantages on my side.
But I'm thinking about it from a general
That is
like,
a general
just,
point.
I'm not even looking at it from like a 7-star. I'm talking about even ranks. I'm talking about people that are fighting 5 stars against 5 stars.
Yeah.
That's what
The
I'm talking
person
about.
who
Like,
fights better deserves to win. It's Battlegrounds.
Right. No, I do understand that, but I'm saying if you're fighting like, and you don't hit that skill ask. Like, you build a roster like, okay, Serpent's hard to fight. You get your behind kicked by Serpent a bunch, but you get a couple champs that can counter him. Then he becomes manageable. But if you just cannot get the timing right, or for the skill ask in the Spider-Woman fight, then she becomes a stronger defender than intended. That is the point of it. Like, that's not a 3.5 defender that's asking for that level of skill from everyone. From you, yes, that makes sense because you are a skillful player that plays at the top of Battleground. But there's not that many people up there. You're talking about hundreds of people, not thousands, not millions.
Mm-hmm.
So that's my argument.
Okay, so the answer there is fairly simple, right? That's why, again, the champions, different levels of skills and stuff like that. In case of Spider-Woman, I agree there's an X amount of champions that can do that fight. Basically, very little skill ask. The ones that we do consider counters with, Venom. There's barely any skill task. It can go wrong, but same time, Kushal against Serpent can go wrong. Same time, Chaos against Serpent can go wrong. Every fight can go wrong. Effectively, against Spider-Woman, just like basically any other champion, there are the champions that counter it very well, where you barely need any skill level, where only thing you need is, not to miss an intercept, not to fail a parry, where you basically just like a basic type of gameplay, and you do that fight very well. And then there's a whole bunch of champions that can do that fight if you play it well. And the same thing exists just about every other champion. Skill aspect here comes in. No, wait, let me finish. Skill aspect here comes into play that you are more skilled than ideally you need less in order to be able to somewhat manage that fight. Or the more skilled you are, the amount of champions that you can use in order to counter a specific champion increases. That is how it exists and how it should exist in like a fighting game. It's kind of like when you see, MSD doing some insane fights with the champions that you never think it's possible because he's extremely skilled. You can't do that. MSD effectively gets rewarded for being insanely skilled to be able to a fight that you can't. Not specific to Spider-Man, it's not specific to any champion. That is just nature of how the game works. The more skilled you are, the more fights you can do with different champions. The more skilled you are, aside from champs like, complete bullshit defenders like we're discussing, but overall, and even to a degree with Serpent, you're like insanely skilled. Even Serpent can be done with some champs. I would agree, let's say, MSD or Barrow can do Serpent with some of the champions that I can't. And there's more counters to them. And even as bullshit defender is Serpent, but especially regular normal. Photon is a great example. A whole bunch of people who can do Photon with like the most random champions. I am slightly less skilled, but I can't do it with some of those champions. Some of those I can, with some of those I can't. And that is where they're skilled. And let's say you are even less skilled and you need a direct counter Photon in order to be able to deal with her effectively. But your roster, your access to newer champions, better counters, higher ranks is what again propels you forward. But the fact that there is a skill ask is for every defender. Skill ask is for every champion.
But I don't spin for that advantage. I spin because I like the roster development side of it.
Cool, like why you spend is entirely up to you. But spending does give you an advantage. Like that is just the fact.
Well, I agree, but that's like a me and you conversation.
No,
like,
that's a general conversation. Like it's a fact. Spending in MCOC gives you advantage. That's not an opinion. That's not a conversation. It's a fact. If you spend MCOC, you get advantage.
No, that's what I'm saying. I agree, but I mean, it's not. It's a it is a valid point, but that's not what I'm bringing it to. Like, I mean, in a way, you're making sense. I'm just not getting my words right. Like, I do understand what you're saying, and I agree with most of it. I just don't agree that you should ask the general casual players out there that they just need to get better at the game.
Nobody's asking them that.
But you are if you want her to remain the same as a defender.
No, I am not. What I'm saying is, like, if you don't want to get better at the game, or if you can't get better at the game, you need to more direct counter. If you can't do Spider-Woman with, I don't know, let's say fucking Shuri, or whatever else, and you need Okoye, you know, that is depending on skill level. I'm not asking you to get more skillful. I'm saying the less skilled you are, the more precise counter you need. And that is true for every single champion in the game.
But you're saying anyone could do her. I don't know. That's what I mean. Like,
I'm not saying, like, anybody. What do you mean anybody can do her? Every champion? No, I never said every champion.
Well, you're saying like you can manage that fight with champions that aren't a direct counter.
Yeah, of course. Not always. Not all the time, but you can.
But like,
you have a fighting
what
chance.
What percent do you think your skill's at?
Like, I don't know. I haven't done the math.
In the game, top 10%.
I don't know. I haven't done the math.
How many people do you think play the game in general?
Again, like, for the sake of argument, I am relatively skilled.
But that's what I mean. Like, how many people in the game? Like, how many people do you think play the game?
How many people do you, like, okay, it's not about how many people play the game when it comes to high-end champion adjustments. It's more about how many people play high-end game. How many people are in, like, you know, relative, because there are, let's say, hundreds of thousands of people that play the game, but, you know, most of them don't make it to GC, for instance. And I'd be willing to wager that significant portion of them don't play Battlegrounds or Alliance 4 at all. And I'd be willing to wager that, you know, many of those people that even do make it to GC, you know, don't have an issue or a problem or wouldn't, whatever, with Spider-Woman. I am willing to wager that this change or adjustment largely affects the people who are in, like, I don't know, top 4, 5, 6,000 in the game. And I'm willing to wager that a significant portion of them are relatively comparable skill level to mine.
But I disagree.
Not better, not necessarily better, but I'd say it's relatively good skill level.
You're arguably top 100 at skill level in the game. You're talking about 5,000 or 6,000 people.
Okay.
Like that's.
But it's not like those 5 or 6. It's not like I'm fucking Usain Bolt and, you know, person in 3,000 places, fucking grandma in a wheelchair.
But see, this is why I disagree, though, because you see the same faces in Battlegrounds all the time. It doesn't matter the meta, it doesn't matter the decks. Like, you see a lot of the same people all the time because of the skill there.
Yeah, of course, but at the same time, like, I often lose the fucking Mysterium 3 guys. And, you know, many of the people are in Mysterium 3 because they don't have as big of a deck. Not that they have less skills, for instance.
That's because the draft dependency of Battlegrounds, though. Like, if we put you in a setting where you get to use your roster, your entire roster for the defender that they lay down, and they get the same scenario, you would win because of the skill ask.
Well, again, it's a mixture of many things. It's a mixture of your experience, how locked in you are, how many times you fucked up, and if you fucked up, and how lucky the draft you got, and all that other stuff. Ultimately, the reason why I can make it to C5, for instance, and there are people who are equally, let's say, skilled as I am and end up in, like, you know, 1,000 spots under it, it's, you're dealing with fairly small margins. There's not a huge difference. And the difference adds up in between your knowledge of the in-game interactions. It adds up in between your experience in drafting. It adds up in between, like, again, your deck building, not necessarily even deck size, but how well structured your deck is, and so on and so forth. And obviously individual matches will come down to the luck and stuff.
But it's the knowledge and skill of a 10-year player, though. Like,
well, yeah, of course, but again, like, knowledge and skill are two different things. Like, my knowledge, you know, doesn't help me in the fight that much. It helps me, like, around the drafting, around the deck construction.
But it helps you in the Spider-Woman thing. When someone faces Spider-Woman and doesn't know that you can get around the fumble and get around the scenario.
Well, in that case, 10 years have nothing to do. It's all about ability to read. Spider-Woman is a champion that was released in 2025. I'd at least hope that when you acquire a champion, you read the abilities of what the champion does.
Yeah, but not everyone likes to read, and you.
Well,
know
if
that
you don't
because
fucking
the
like to
experts
read it, I can't
never
help you.
know.
Then that's not my fucking problem or an issue. If you are allergic to reading or learning a champion that you are using, that is a you problem, not a skill issue.
I think that knowledge does affect skill. That's just my opinion.
Knowledge helps you express your skill. Knowledge doesn't increase the skill. But refusing to acquire knowledge of a champions that you use and rank and face, it's your problem. It's a character problem, not a skill issue.
I don't know.
Okay.
I don't know. I still think that, like, I don't know. I still think that the roster thing, the point that you were making before, like the spending gives you, a chance at a roster advantage, but you don't really see the whales like don't get me wrong, it does increase chances, but you just don't see those crazy spenders at the top of the Battlegrounds leaderboard.
First of all, the significant percentage of the players that are I can tell you as somebody from experience, there was time when my roster was more competitive because I used to spend more money on the game. It is much harder now to place as high than it was before, because I don't have as big of a roster, because I don't have as many of the champions, because I don't have as many of the rank 4s, because I often have to fight the disadvantage. It is harder. I mean, it's impossible, as many people continuously, time and time again, prove. And that is because there is still some skill expression in the game. Great. But it's undeniable that bigger roster does help you significantly. But big roster cannot, be a substitute in its entirety for the lack of skill. You need to have at least moderately high level of skill for the big roster to be able to help you. If you can't parry, and if you can't intercept, and if you don't know matchups, no amount of money or rank 4s are going to help you.
And I mean, that's funny, Edward said in the chat. Look, I'm not saying, like, even Enchantress in a way, like I mean, I think that the chance to miss while trying to punish the heavy is BS.
Yeah, that is like one of the biggest BS about that champion. I hate that.
Yeah,
as well as her AI.
I mean, that's just what Edward was saying that in the chat, but like, yeah, I think that should be nerfed, but
it
I
didn't.
Just don't.
And like, and here is the biggest
that's
argument.
That's not the subject here.
Like, no, but it is part of the subject as well, because since things like that exist in the game, and OP and bullshit and RNG and run abilities like that do exist, having one more or having that on another champion is not an excuse to take it away all of a sudden. Again, you do show a precedent where, number one, random chance to miss an Enchantress is bullshit. Like, we all hate it, but Kabam let it slide. Same as let the serpent slide, same as let slide all of these things.
But that's like a bullshit argument, though. That's like you're negating growth and progression. That's like getting in an argument with like your significant other and you bringing up some shit that they did 6 months ago.
Why?
Because, you know what I mean? Like, you're like, oh, well, you did it 6 months ago. So that's kind of like you're saying, well, you didn't nerf them, but now you're nerfing this. But how do we know it's the same people? Like, how do we know that they're not trying to be more on top of things? Like, you're just holding the accountability based on,
because there hasn't been any, because there's no consistency and there just is no accountability. And again, even first of all, like, okay, so first things first. All of these arguments only would even work. What you are discussing is if you assume I am trying to defend Spider-Woman's defensive ensnare, which I'm not even trying to do particularly. I wouldn't be that fast if it got removed on defense but left alive on attack. Right, that's number one. Number two, your argument of self-betterment goes out of the window when Kabam is actively gaslighting and bullshitting me in the post that they're discussing. when they are saying we didn't find an issue with her offensively, we did find an issue with her defensively, that is why we are going to be taken away. So if you are lying to me today, you cannot make an argument that Kabam is trying to do the right thing now than they used to. No, because they're still doing the wrong thing right now, because they are actively gaslighting and lying to us by doing it. Number two, because there is an easy solution to the discussion that you are making right now. Every single thing that you said right now, you argued from a point as if I am defending the defensive ensnare, which I personally don't have much of an issue with, but I understand why some people do. But fair enough, then remove it only on defense.
But you did though. You just, when we were just talking, like, I'm not saying, okay, I get
No,
what you're saying. You have said that you want it to stay on offense and you don't care about it going on defense. You have said that, but in the argument of the defensive thing that you said that
I still made an
there's a
argument of the
skill
defensive
gap
thing.
there,
Yeah.
too.
Yeah, of course, because I am perfectly capable of making a defensive argument for the defensive ensnare as well, which I don't think is the biggest issue. But, you know, if you ask me, I didn't find a particularly big reason for that to get removed as well. I do, however, find significantly bigger issue of the ensnare get removed on attack as well as defense. Does that make sense?
It does make sense, but
So,
my thing is that it's a matter of opinion. That's what I mean by it's a matter of
well,
opinion.
yeah,
You
exactly,
said that
because
it's
we
not,
have
it's a
been
matter
both
of
expressing
fact.
our opinions and argumenting them. Like, that is what you do
Right,
with
but
opinions. You have an opinion, I have an opinion, and we debate them and we try to justify them, which is exactly what we have been trying for the past hour. And here's the thing, there are bad opinions, there are less informed opinions, and there are opinions that are wrong in the world. That is a fact. If you are not capable of defending your opinion well enough, you know, then you concede that opinion. That is the point of discussion. If you say,
Right,
like,
but
that is
my-
bad, and I say that is good, and I tell you 10 good things about it, and, you know, and you have, like, nothing worthwhile to say back in regards of that, then as an adult man, you shouldn't be just going like, oh yeah, fuck it, we each have our opinion, let's agree, disagree, fuck off. There has to be some sort of conclusion towards what we're moving towards, right? By discussing these things.
Okay, all right, fair enough. But when you said earlier that it was factual, then that's where, to me, I don't think that it is, because
if I said a fact, I said a fact. If I said an opinion, then I said an opinion. When I said it's a factual, it is when I was referring to a specific fact within the discussion that is not up for debate. Only reason I mentioned something being...
Edward's right. I think Edward's right in the chat, though. I think that Kabam they don't have the trust. They don't have... I feel like that's why it's so harsh right now, because the community is not on good terms with Kabam. I don't think it's that big of a deal. I just don't. I don't see it being that big of a deal. It's just because so many things have been going
It's
wrong.
part of it. It
the
is
relationship
absolutely
between the
making an
player
impact
and
of it. It's not all, again, it is not all of it. It's absolutely a part of it. Kabam as a company is operating in a huge depth, a depth of trust that they have done to themselves. And again, I can't feel sorry for them, and I can't ignore it, and I can't justify it, because they continuously keep digging that. They keep borrowing them on trust. Even with these posts and announcements, they are gaslighting in that post. There are like four or five different...
transitioning the game.
No, wait, there are like four or five different things wrong in that post. The way they are gaslighting, the way they are presenting that they're doing this, you know, because of her defense, but taking it away from offense as well. Like, when we know for a fact it's a very easy thing for Kabam to have a defensive and offensive abilities. When there's, again, like, the solution, just change the ensnare to a pre-fight. Not a big problem. Make ensnare working only on attack. It's like not a big problem. So on and so forth. There are plenty of solutions that they could have. But the fact that they are pretending that it's like primarily only because of the defense, which again is a debatable thing, but would be received significantly different if they wouldn't have touched her offensively. All of those things Kabam is doing to themselves, and that is coming on the back of one of the most disgusting months in the MCOC history, in between
Scott
the
Root,
Lord
Lord
prestige, all the
_8
difficulty issues in
50 South African
connectivity,
rand.
which are still
Okay,
waiting.
off topic. My second account rank 4 Photon or Kindred. I have a rank 4 high Evo already, so science kind of covered.
Fair enough.
Yeah, so my second account, one
What
second.
SIG is that Kindred?
Yeah, what SIG is Kindred? I'd still do Photon though. I'd still do Photon. I absolutely love Photon.
I mean, Photon's definitely the better chain.
Yeah.
You know, like I was saying earlier, I don't know if you've seen all of it, but it is. I understand the severity of everything that they do compared to like to me, to you, because I feel like they cater the game to, like, they're transitioning the game into more of like a pay to play. It's not even just like a pay to win.
Yeah, it is definitely
like
pay
you
to
said,
play.
you know, like,
Yeah, exactly, and like,
yeah,
I am uncomfortable with things like that. It's not only because again, no wait, but it's not only because, you know, this is how I make my money, and this does, and Kabam's stupid decisions quite directly affect my financial well-being. You know, the more stupid things Kabam does, ultimately the less money I can make, because the less people play the game or willing to invest money in, you know, the game like that, and, you know, so on and so forth. Ultimately, the more stupid things Kabam does, the less money I make, so I don't like them making stupid things and stupid decisions. And that's why I sincerely want Kabam to do as well as they can, and I am frustrated when they do so much stupid shit. But at the same time, also, like, as a player, as a human being on a deeply, like, moral level, what I think is right, what I think is good, what I think is bad, Kabam is genuinely inducing significant levels of kind of disgust and negative emotion on me, even if it's not talking about money, even it's talking about the lying, the gaslighting, all of that I am very uncomfortable with. All of that is making me think less of them, not as a business, but as people working there individually. Any person who gets paid to lie to people and then defend those lies, it does affect the way I view them. That's why, like, you can say whatever the fuck you want about me and my takes, and I am this and I am that, but trust me, like, I could have done that as well. I could have made that choice years ago when I opened a YouTube account. I could have made a choice to be very quaint with Kabam, not criticize them, and just tell you that every new champion is fucking awesome and then you should buy those early access bundles. I didn't do that because I found that to be wrong. Exactly, I didn't do that because I found that to be wrong. Disingenuous evil even. But that is what I am staring at right now in those forum posts. That is the behavior that I see plenty of people on YouTube defending, and especially Kabam employees lying through their teeth and gaslighting community. I have a problem with that. That's why I say it's not just about Spider-Woman, it's about what Kabam is doing and what decisions they are making, and the way they are going about it.
I know it's not a money thing. I just mean, like, I know that like the game's future matters for that, but that's not why you care about the game so deeply. I know that because you started playing the game. It wasn't like it automatically gave you 50,000 subscribers in a YouTube channel. Like, you worked hard for all that, but it was because of the game that you enjoyed playing.
Yeah, exactly.
So, like,
and I am enjoying it less and less and less and less. And I am in just about all-time low because of the shit that Kabam keeps doing. And at the moment, it genuinely, like, and here's the thing, Kabam always does some stupid thing, but then some time passes and you kind of get over it and you think about it and you don't remember it, and it's kind of like out of your mind, up to your memory. Right now, Kabam is speed running evil. Like, right now, Kabam is speed running shitty decisions. I don't have any time. I don't have any time to get over the last shit that they did, and they come up with something that I have a massive, you know, issue with right now.
But there's still transparency there, though. They're telling you that they're going to nerf her, and it's not until January. So there's what, like,
lies are not transparency. Gaslighting is not transparency.
There's still 4 or 5 months that they could change their mind.
Okay, that is different. The fact that there is time that could change their mind because of community pushback, that is not the benefit to Kabam.
But at least they give that. They give that though. They could really be a dictatorship about it and say, "Hey, next update, the Nerf's going live."
They are dictatorship. They are dictatorship about it, and they are doing it because it is the format that they themselves decided, right?
Look at the energy thing. They said they were going to monetize energy. The community pushed back, and then they gave us a bunch of extra energy. They went in the complete opposite direction.
Yes, which is good, but it will never be as good as if they didn't try to make that shitty change in the first place. It's the same thing if somebody calls you a cunt and a chicken fucker and like I don't know, a pedophile in front of your entire family, and then 2 days later apologizes to you. At least they apologized, yes, but it's not as good if that never happened. Do you get what I mean?
So then we just need all the content. We just need all the content creators to say that it could remain as an offensive ability. It just needs to be removed as a defensive ability, and we'll be okay.
I mean, like, hopefully. No, that's the thing. It's like you're never gonna be as good as you started because they tried to do that in the first place. The same thing is energy, like just explained. Just because somebody like swears at you and demeans you or humiliates you and then comes to apologize, I mean, it's obviously fucking better if they do apologize and say that they're sorry and all that stuff, but it's never going to be as good as if that didn't happen in the first place. Same thing with energy. Even if they do, you know, obviously there's going to be a sense of relief. There's going to be some middle ground. It is going to be better than if Kabam sticks to their guns, but it's not going to be as good as if they never tried to do that in the first place. Do you understand that?
Yeah, no, I get the opinion for sure.
There you go.
That's a lot. You're a very strongly opinionated person. I definitely feel like I feel like there's just more there for you. It's more meaningful for you. Like, obviously we're on the opposite sides of the fence on the whole Spider-Woman Nerf thing, but we're also indifferent about how it is. Like, I'm way more casual in the game.
I mean, of
like,
course. I mean, like, just like with everything, like different things, you know, different hobbies, different levels of engagement, different things. Like this game means different things to different people. Some people play 15 minutes a day and, you know, don't talk to anybody. Some people play this game in order to stay in touch with people that met ages ago. Some people truly love this game and want to progress. Some people use this game as an outlet for something. It means different things to different people, as it should, and that's a good thing.
But what's your
but
so
it does
what's your
that
thought
but the
process
fact
if
that
they
somebody
keep it the
cares
same?
less or somebody cares more about something doesn't change whether something is good or bad objectively.
Right, it's just a matter of, well, good and bad is always a matter of opinion.
No, not always a matter of opinion.
Bullshit. Did you think Hitler didn't think he was being bad? It's a matter of opinion.
There are moral absolutes that are not subject to opinion.
Fair enough. All right. Well, there's exceptions. I'll give you that. So if they're gonna nerf her, like if they're gonna keep it the same way, if they're gonna nerf it, what's your thought process on that? Like, obviously you're upset about it, but like, where are you at 4 months on it? Like, how do you cope with it?
My thought process? Again, like,
Yeah,
my
like,
personality
how
is a
do
bit
you get
different
over
than
it?
yours. Like, first of all, I'm gonna see where the chips lie, and then I'm gonna figure out whether or how I will cope or deal with it. Because right now, as far as I'm concerned, it's still in a flux, because we do not know for certain whether it is going to stay the way, what's going to happen, and how it is going to be. When we do have effectively a final decision on that, even then, there is still, you know, the transition process, where you need to see what impact does that have on the champion. And then, you know, there's the final person. So I never kind of like rush to kind of like worry or ponder about the things that have not happened or might not happen. Like, I deal with things, I typically like deal with things one step at a time, and we are currently on whether it will happen, whether it will not happen, how it will happen, and so on and so forth. That is kind of like set in stone. I will move on to the next step of figuring out what that means to me.
I just always feel like it could be worse. I guess that's why.
I mean,
like,
it always could be
it's
worse.
easy for me to do.
Exactly, you know. But that
Like,
is
I don't have any significant
it could be,
attachment to her.
again,
Like,
it could be worse is a thing that you can say about literally anything in your life. Like, I'm
Right,
fat,
but that- I
it
mean,
could be
that-
worse, I could be fatter. Like, I'm late for worse, could be
Well,
worse. you know. And like, I have a small dick. Could be worse. It could be smaller. You know. Like, I have stage 3 cancer. It could be worse. It could have been stage 4. Like
before I started losing weight, you've seen me, and that's probably the biggest I've been. And like, yeah, like, how do you think I got to that point? You know, there wasn't like a time like where I was like, yeah, I probably need to lose weight. I've been gaining weight, but then I could look at it and go, well, it could be worse.
Yeah,
like,
exactly.
That's pretty much how I've navigated.
Oh, look at them fat. It could be worse. At least I can still walk.
Yeah.
It always could be worse. But that argument is nonsensical in terms of justification. That argument is, you know, a cop-out.
No, but you can say that it's a cop-out, but it's also how my life is more enjoyable. Because, like, I grew up poor, so it allows me to appreciate every little thing that I have access to now.
It could be worse is the thing you can say to yourself to cheer you up, but it is not an argument you could justify anything or make your peace, you know, with bad things.
It is if it's out of your control, though. Like my weight is in my control. I can do something about that. Like,
oh, yeah.
If I'm nerfing a champion,
yeah,
I
but
can't do
if something is I mean, like, kind of. Like, I mean, like, I feel like I can. I feel like we collectively can. I don't think it is entirely out of your control. I think you should. I mean, like, I kind of get your point, and I am fairly similar. I don't typically, like, you know, stress over the things I feel like I can have no impact, like, you know, geopolitics and stuff like that. I feel like, you know, nothing I can do about it. I can comment on it. I can educate myself. I can change my, you know, create my opinion about it. But it's not like I'm gonna be able to make a change in that. So therefore, I do not have escalated level of emotion towards that. You know what I mean? So I can look at things like that more clear-headedly.
It does help.
But it could be worse. A situation like I mean, like, I disagree with using arguments like that, especially on myself. Anyways.
Has this went on for a while?
Yeah, I mean, like, we're about done now. Yeah.
Yeah, I see James has been hating on me the whole time.
Alright, so there you go. Hope you guys enjoyed the stream. I'm gonna catch you guys soon. Bye bye. Hello there, guys, and welcome back.